Never let it be said I don't listen to the comments. The NADAT out brigade. I listened. I tried Mike Payne for a few games. He's properly rubbish. NADAT's going to be back in today. Hello and welcome to part 66 of Backing the Boro. I'm Kev, and coming up on today's episode, we're away against Bristol Rovers and then at home against Bradford, both in League 2. Since you were last with me, we played a few games. Where did we get to? Last episode we had Villa and Coventry, didn't we? So we had a couple of good wins, 5-2 wins in the league, which was nice. But we had a couple of games where we conceded a lot of goals. Interesting. Who was in goal for us in those games? Oh, Mike Payne conceded 4 goals in that game and was really poor. We lost this one as well. Mike Payne played in that one as well and was really poor. What about these ones where we were winning and doing well? Oh, NADAT's in goal there. Hang on. Let's check this one. NADAT. This can't be a pattern, surely. We drew this one. NADAT in goal. Mike Payne's rubbish. I don't know how to break it to you. This is going to be the team that we put out there today. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is why you should be hanging around in the comments after these videos come out. And you can join in the conversation down there. It's lots of fun. So, for the first game against Bristol Rovers, we've got NADAT in goal, who, there's pressure on him today. He needs a big performance. And then we've got a back four of Anderson, Laskowski, Sawyer and Worrell Bristow. Darwin, Hurd and Skelton are in midfield with Ball in behind McDonald and Fisher. I think you met Miles Darwin. I think we introduced you to him at the start of the season. He's the one on loan from Reading. He's actually looking rather effective, which is why he makes his way into, he's made his way into the team over the last few games. We've got a few familiar faces on the bench as well. New Omar has earned his way back up onto the bench again to see if he can have his one good game this year, because he had that one good game last year and then never looked any good any other time we used him, and we ended up sending him out on loan. But I'm hopeful at some point, maybe in today's episode, we get one good game or a good half out of New Omar, who, old Omar isn't even at the club anymore, but I think he just has to continue to be called New Omar. So if we just keep calling him Omar, if someone misses out the episode where we officially rename him, they'll think it was old Omar, who's changed position from striker to midfielder and had 10 years knocked off him. And that's going to just look confusing. So he will forevermore be New Omar, even when he's in his mid-40s and still playing for us. Right, McDonald now have a chance to break down this left-hand side. It's still very early, but we're getting a highlight quite early on. It's Darwin, back out to McDonald again. Cross doesn't beat the first man, but Darwin over to Skelton. We've got the overlap on that right-hand side with the man of 4 names, but he was completely ignored. Cross comes into Fisher, and Dan Fisher, with about his 400th goal of the season already, he's just a goal machine. How did we drop down to 10th? Oh, there you go. We moved back up to 5th. I'm going to say, goal goes in. We drop down to 10th. Look at how much space Bobby Joe Worrell Bristow was in there. Turns out we didn't need him. Goes out to the old faithful of Joe Anderson, who, if nothing else, he knows how to stick a cross into the far post. Lands on the head of Fisher. We'll have a look at Dan Fisher at half time, because I don't think he's actually scored 400 goals this season, but I think he might be on track for it. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he's already in double figures, and this is our 6th game of the season. But Dan Fisher is just scoring like a lunatic. He's scoring like Livesey Mason in the National League, back when he used to be any good and score goals. But NADAT with an excellent save. Interesting. We should be writing this down. Excellent potential match-saving save from Robbie NADAT there. Didn't see Mike Payne do that when he was in the team. A penalty. This is another opportunity for NADAT to prove he's a hero. Come on. We wanted a big game from you today, Robbie. Let's see if you can pull off a wonder save from the penalty. He didn't. But still, it was a penalty. You can't fault a man for being beaten from the penalty spot. We'll be fine. The rest of the game, NADAT will be good. He went the right way. He didn't dive really at all. He kind of just jumped up in the air, turned sideways and fell back down where he was standing. But his heart was in the right place. And often, that's the most important thing when it comes to goalkeeping, I think. Right, McDonald down this left-hand side again. Cross comes into Fisher, who hits the post and then does tuck away the rebound. Dan Fisher, goodness gracious me, he was not this good last year when he was here on loan. For some reason, signing McDonald and Fisher permanently and changing nothing else, they're still playing in the same roles with the same man behind them, the same fullbacks getting the crosses in. But just the act of signing them permanently, it was McDonald who was scoring all the goals last year. But this year, it's all about Dan Fisher. 2 goals there in that first half. And let's see how many he's got for the season so far. I suggest it will be rather a lot. So Dan Fisher, still only 22, now has 11 goals from 6 league games. So 11 league goals, 6 league games, and 2 from 2 in the cup as well. So 13 goals from 8 games in all competitions so far this season. I mean, that'll do. I can accept that kind of scoring ratio. Darwin's picked up a little bit of a knock. I haven't ignored that that's happened. It just, he's only here on loan. Doesn't matter if we break him, we can always send him back. And we have got New Omar sat down there on the bench though, so I think we'll probably bring New Omar on any moment, just because I've remembered he's there and I want that one good half out of him. And Darwin's still looks quite mobile in there. Doesn't look like it's not like his bottom half of his leg is hanging off. And NADAT with another match-saving set. You might say that was an easy shot. That was a clear-cut chance. NADAT saved it. That's one clear-cut chance he saved. And there was another big save earlier on as well. So NADAT having a good game, as usual. People just pick on him for no reason. Right, New Omar is on for Darwin. So let's see if today's the day New Omar looks like a proper player again. And we've won a penalty. It's Skelton to take. And can he tuck it away? If he misses this one, he's never taken another penalty for us. He doesn't miss. He's scored. It's 3-1 now. Bristol Rovers, before this match, were mid-table. I thought they were higher up the league now. It's Bradford who must be at the top of the league. I know one of the two teams we're playing today are right up there in the promotion hunt. Yeah, it is Bradford who are up in second place. Okay, so Bristol Rovers are the one we should be beating. Bradford are the one we'll probably lose to. But here's Skelton in lots of space. Finds Fisher, keeps hold of it. It's back to New Omar. Skelton again, but it just sort of bounces off the back of his heel. And now Rovers try a break, but then they forget that as well as playing the ball forward, they also have to have some players there. And we win the ball back. It's Fisher with a ridiculously audacious shot from a stupid angle that the keeper made a bit of a meal of. He could have had his hat-trick there in really weird circumstances. He used a lot of strength and pace to win the ball in the first place. Dan Fisher's just a good player, having a good game. Josh McDonald, not so much. Ooh, he doesn't want to be... Garrick doesn't want to be a target man. Can Owen Hibbert be a target man? No, we don't. I don't really want to have to move Fisher over. I mean, Fisher can do it, but he's playing so well. But I think we're going to have to. We'll bring Garrick on, and Fisher moves across to target man. It seems silly to mess with Laskowski, actually. Goodness me, what's going on here? Yellow card, a 6.1. We've got Redhead on the bench. Laskowski's just having a bad game, it seems, so we'll whip him off as well. And use up all our substitutions early, because what's the worst that could happen? We've got NADAT in goal. They're not going to score more goals. It's just not possible with the quality of goalkeeping that we've got available to us. They are knocking the ball around in midfield nicely, though, so it'd be handy if New Omar just woke up and decided today's the day for his good half. There's Fisher, though, a little bit deeper because he's now playing as a target man. Skelton's getting a lot of time on the ball today, but he's being quite wasteful with it. And now they're coming at us again. But it's Joe Anderson's had another very good game today. And that was awful from Redhead. He was supposed to come on because Laskowski was being useless. And Redhead was supposed to stop the uselessity down that left-hand side of our defence. But apparently not. He's just picking up where Laskowski left off with uselessness. And now Bristol Rovers have a corner, and not a corner, a wide free kick. And NADAT, with some dominant goalkeeping, intimidates their attacker into heading it over the crossbar. So another match-saving piece of play from Robbie NADAT. Can I point out, Bristol Rovers have had 4 clear-cut chances to our 3. So we're mugging them, largely due to the performances of 2 men. Dan Fisher for the goals, and Robbie NADAT for being an absolute hero in goal. There's no way to paint that differently. He's a good goalkeeper. Hurd, forward to Skelton. With still like 4 minutes left. Still time for NADAT to mess something up. And me not be able to say he's great. He was never going to save that. We'll let him have that one. It was poor defending. We'll blame Redhead, because he's the one who came on and made a mistake early on. I was suspicions of offside there when the ball was played forward to their winger. And I mean, NADAT did his best impersonation of a statue, probably to try and intimidate their attackers again. It worked before, and he's learning from what works and what doesn't. The intimidation thing worked before, so he tried it again. It didn't work that time, so perhaps he won't do that again. He'll perhaps try and make a save on the next one. But I like a goalkeeper who's willing to be a little bit unconventional, try a few things, and learn from his mistakes. it shows real strength of character. Full time. Thank you, Robbie NADAT. You helped us complete a mugging. We don't mug teams very often. I enjoy a mugging. Just the one change for the Bradford game then. Squire Bill coming in for Nyron Hurd, just because Hurd's a little bit tired. I was tempted to take Darwin out of the team as well, but I didn't want to make two changes to what was a pretty effective midfield in the last game. So the most tired one in Hurd has dropped down to the bench. Darwin probably won't make it through the full match. The rest of the team is unchanged. I'm expecting another dominant performance from team talisman Robbie NADAT. And I mean, I would suggest he might be the greatest goalkeeper of all time. But obviously it's a little early to say that, but I have a knack for spotting a goalkeeper. Kevin Thompson being an excellent example, and I think NADAT might one day be in that category. McDonald puts us 1-0 up against second place Bradford after 30 seconds. He didn't like all the plaudits that Dan Fisher was getting off the back of the previous game. And, I mean, it's a weird goal. It's sort of lumped forward from their keeper but doesn't make it past the halfway line. It's nodded back down. And then we just kind of dance through them with a couple of little 5-yard passes that have moved us through their entire midfield and defence without them seemingly attempting to put a tackle in. It was just a weird goal. Is that Jack Marriott in the Bradford team? Posh hero, top goal scorer in the whole of English football, Jack Marriott, playing in League Two for Bradford. What a ridiculous world we live in. I mean, even he won't be able to beat Robbie NADAT. A non-league to legend veteran in Deli Bashiru in their midfield as well. There's some familiar faces in this Bradford team, but I think if NADAT manages to keep Jack Marriott at bay for an entire match, that's more than any Football League goalkeepers have managed to do this season. So it would make him, even by present day real world criteria, the best goalkeeper in the Football League if he manages to keep a clean sheet against Jack Marriott. And I don't think there's fairer criteria than that. So we'll see how the game develops. I need to have a look at Jack Marriott's career at half-time so I'll see where it all went wrong for him to have ended up back in League Two. I'd have expected him to have been to a couple of World Cups by this point of his career. Bristol Rovers losing again, I note, from the little notification at the top of the screen. Right, here we go. Skelton to Darwin. Was that... I thought that was McDonald. Oh, there you go. There's Marriott. Oh, what a save from Robbie NADAT. Jack Marriott is through on goal. He scores in that position 100% of the time. He has never missed in his life from that kind of position. And NADAT has just saved Jack Marriott one-on-one. I mean, Marriott won't know what's hit him. That's never happened to him before. But NADAT's just that good. I don't remember the point I was trying to make before. I think Fisher and McDonald swapped over and I was confused about it. But perhaps I just got them wrong. Right, there is Fisher. In behind. That's a penalty. And presumably it's going to be Skelton who trots forward to take it again, trying to get his second goal of the episode from the penalty spot. He does. It's 2-0 up after 38 minutes. And as things stand right now, we're up into the automatic promotion spots with a game in hand. And it's a game in hand on Bradford, who we've shown in the first 38 minutes of this game we're better than. I don't expect anyone other than Forest to win the league this year. I think Forest will run away with it, as they're already starting to do. But if we can finish second behind Forest this year, I think that will put us in a rather strong position going into next year, because I don't really get how Forest are down at this level. It's almost as confusing as Jack Marriott being down at this level, but we are going to have a little look at him when we can get to him, when he next appears on the screen. I don't really want to click... I'll look at him after the match. I don't really want to click on him and force him into scoring a goal, because we all know that's the way Football Manager works. If you identify an opposition player, they do score. Fisher, through on goal again, forcing a save out their keeper. Fisher's not having any luck in front of goal today. He's had a couple of good chances and seemed to do quite well with them, but then their keeper, I mean, he's almost a NADAT. I would say he's like a half NADAT. Right, Fisher, across to Squire Bill. It's Ball to Skelton, back to Ball, and it's 3-0, and we are playing some lovely football. I genuinely am not sure Bradford know how to tackle, because every time we've got the ball, they don't seem to be making any attempt to get it back. They just let us knock it around them with these little passes along the floor, leaving us in space, and we're just absolutely ruining them with it. 3-0 up just after half time. We've had 5 clear-cut chances already. We're dominating possession. Bradford was second. Bradford still are second in the league. And we're doing this to them. Sawyer now. Are we going to be at it again? Darwin. Let's see if Bradford attempt to tackle at any point. It's Fisher down the right-hand side. Cross comes in. No attempt at a tackle. Their keeper just intercepts. This has now become a spot the tackle competition. Will Bradford get a tackle in before the end of this match? See, we're just knocking. Look at the space they're giving our players. We'll just ruin you if you give us this kind of space. McDonald's in behind, loops it over to Fisher. Was that off the crossbar or was that a save? I think it's off the crossbar. But again, another Nuneaton attack. Another instance of Bradford not even not tackling, not even attempting to make a tackle. Laskowski now to Squire Bill, who again is in so much space as the deep line playmaker. They're just letting him dictate the game, and Fisher makes it 4-0. Still no signs of a Bradford tackle, and that was a beauty of a finish. McDonald got the ball out wide from Squire Bill, just playing quarterback. I actually went forward to Darwin. I mean, I wouldn't want to exaggerate, so I will credit Darwin with the pass. McDonald squares it to Fisher, though, who finally tucks it into the back of the net for what's that, his 14th goal of the season now in 7 games. So he's scoring at 2 goals a game at the moment. It's ridiculous. Who scores at 2 goals a game? Right, substitutions. It's going to be purely based on fitness because they're all playing brilliantly. Darwin, we talked about before the match, so we'll just swap him for Nyron Hurd. It just seems like the obvious thing to do. I know it involves moving Squire Bill out to Carolera, but in theory that's his better position. I know he's been dictating the play from deep line playmaker, but we'll just move him. In fact, should we have a look at Jonah Hodgkinson? Take Squire Bill off completely, because Jonah Hodgkinson has been at the club for 2 years. He was out on loan last season, so we've never actually seen him play. Let's give him an opportunity for the last 20 minutes of this game. We're 4-0 up. What's the worst that could happen? And we'll leave it there. And then we'll just see out the game. Still no signs of Robbie NADAT being beaten. Still no signs of a Bradford tackle. So I just don't think they know how. Cross comes in. NADAT again with that intimidation technique that he uses from these set pieces. He just intimidates opposition players into heading the ball over the bar. It's an excellent skill for a goalkeeper to have. And look at that. Another save from the best goalkeeper in the Football League from another clear-cut chance from Bradford. I believe it or not, I started this episode out and I was being a little bit silly. You might have noticed. But actually, NADAT has had a blinder of an episode. The NADAT Out Brigade, come at me now, because he's been brilliant today. He's made some top quality saves. Ball over the top again. Has Jack Marriott gone off the pitch? I mean, that was cheating. There was cheating involved there, probably. Let's double check. I think there was some cheating. Ball comes over the top. Why don't we have a right back? He tries to chase back. Cross comes in, and NADAT does all a man can in that situation. We were just caught on the counter-attack. You can't blame Robbie for that one. That would be ridiculous. I mean, Laskowski's playing quite poorly again. Let's just make that same substitution we made in the last game. Perhaps Laskowski for Redhead needs to be a permanent swap. We did attempt to sell Sawyer. Okay, we were willing to listen to offers for Sawyer. We didn't offer him out. None came in the end. So my plan for a Laskowski Redhead partnership this season has been ruined a little bit by our best centre-back still being at the club. But perhaps Laskowski needs to sit on the bench for a little while because he is playing pretty poorly at the moment. And we're just knocking the ball around again, inviting Bradford to come and tackle us to see if they know how. And, I mean, that doesn't count. That's an interception. Ball over the top. Come on, Robbie! Oh, no. Edit that one out. Edit that one out. Everyone gets one. We're still going to win. Oh, dear. It's because I stopped being silly and actually seriously said he was any good. Oh, Robbie. At least we're still going to win. Go away, everyone who's now furiously typing, I told you so. We've won both games on this episode. You told me nothing. We're third in the league. McDonald can't get past his man. Redhead does intercept though. Hurd to Skelton. Come on, let's have a fifth just to put it beyond doubt. And there it is. It's Dan Fisher who decided that 2 goals a game isn't a good enough average for him to be operating on. So he's operating dead on the average, so he needs a hat-trick to do that. But I guess he scored a hat-trick at some point. In all his other games, he scores 2 goals. It is ridiculous. I mean, this run of form can't go on forever. Let's have some predictions down in the comments, though. How many goals is Dan Fisher going to score this season? Because he's on 15 now, and this is our 7th game. 15 goals in 7 games. How many goals is he going to have by the end of the season? Right, we are going to have a look at Jack Marriott before we go away. This is purely my own personal interest as a Posh fan. So if you're not a Posh fan, you probably can go and, I don't know, make a cup of coffee, clean your teeth, have a shower, whatever you... Can I not spell Marriott's name? Marriott, Jack. I mean, what was wrong with that version? They're the same word. Jack Marriott, 31 years old now. So he stayed at Posh, never really scoring enough goals. Went to Rochdale on a free transfer, with whom he played in the Championship and had a whole... I mean, this is... What a stupid game this is. Psh, that's not the career Jack Marriott's going to have. If you've enjoyed that episode, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. And thank you very much for watching.